What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. That's right, I already broke out the red hoodie. I'm trying to get that good luck mojo going early in the week this week for the New York Giants. Of course, I wore this last year. They went on a 4-game winning streak, so we're going to wear it week 1 for sure against the Denver Broncos. And I will be live tomorrow. I'm going to do more of a broad NFL thing where we do picks against the spread. But of course, you know there's going to be Giants talk involved as well. And I'm going to be talking about doing a giveaway and a weekly contest with you guys during the live stream. Just haven't quite figured out exactly what it's going to be yet, but we'll talk more about that tomorrow during the live stream. But in this video, I wanted to talk about some of the major things that came out today for the New York Giants, and who knows, there may be another video later today if there's something worth talking about, but there's a bunch of things that I really wanted to express my opinion on and report to you guys happening around the league with the New York Giants. One is going to involve Nate Solder. The first unofficial depth chart came out today by the New York Giants. I'll read a couple of quotes from some of the Giants beat reporters, and then I'll give my opinion on the offensive line and the right tackle position specifically. Another is going to involve the decision for the New York Giants to reconstruct his contract with Logan Ryan to free up a little bit more money on this year's cap. Of course, yesterday I talked about Josh Jackson, the decision for the New York Giants. I think it saved them $400,000 on this year's cap. They were still a bit over. Well, now I would imagine they are now going to be under this year's salary cap based on this decision. Don't expect the New York Giants to go out there and spend any money. I saw a lot of people saying that Logan Ryan's a hero for doing this. Listen, I love Logan Ryan, my favorite player on the team. Logan Ryan's still getting paid, and we're going to talk more about that throughout this video. And then finally, and we're going to start with the quote from this with Montee Ball. In case you don't know who Montee Ball is, because he wasn't a very good pro, was a former running back of the Denver Broncos, came out and said that he thinks the New York Giants are going to be a cakewalk. And we're going to pull up that quote first. I'll give my opinion on that. This coming from GiantsWire.com. Giants should be a cakewalk. Ball told reporters breakdown, it's going to be cake. I hope they all think it's going to be a cakewalk. We should go into New York and obviously come out with the W there. Although Ball sees an easy win against the Giants, he was less certain about Denver upending the Jacksonville Jaguars. That speaks volumes about how Big Blue is currently viewed around the league. And I don't know about you guys, and I completely understand where people are coming from in terms of the way we're viewed. We've won 15 games in 3 years. The offensive line is obviously still a major question mark, so I'm not going to fault people for having their opinion. But I don't know about you guys as Giants fans. I like when the New York Giants are doubted, and maybe it's just a mental thing for me, but I like people kind of overlooking us. And if you're Joe Judge going into this game, this should be plastered on the wall in the locker room all over. This should be bulletin board material. If you can find anything to create extra motivation for the New York Giants, Joe Judge, go out and do it. Montee Ball just gave you something to work with for your football team. Don't think Joe Judge won't try to take advantage of this bulletin board material. But of course, he's not even a player of the team. He's just voicing his opinion. This then coming out from Ian Rappaport. The Giants converted most of the base salary of defensive back Logan Ryan into a signing bonus, creating more cap space heading into the season. Source said, Ryan recently voted a captain, spreads that signing bonus over the remaining years of his contract for cap purposes. And the only reason for this, like I said earlier, is not to create an opportunity to make more moves. It's to get under the salary cap. But by doing that, of course, you're going to impact next year's salary cap. Now, is it a huge impact? No, and we all know you could always do things to try to create more cap space, especially as the cap is going to go up more and more and more. And this is a minor thing. It's a little bit of money. We're going to get into the exact specifics. And this is an estimate coming out from Dan Duggan in terms of the impact that it will have in 2022 and 2023. As of now, the projected salary cap for 2022 will be no higher than $208 million. It's $185 this year, but most people think it's going to be right around that number. The following year, if it is 208, you figure at least 220, 225. So not near the amount of impact that it has on this year, being that the salary cap shrunk due to, obviously, the pandemic. This coming out from Dan. Ryan's base salary was $5.5 million. This should add about $2 million to Ryan's cap hits in 2022 and 2023. So it's minor, and it's something that the New York Giants had to do. The main reason for it, it was all the late signings and the trades and the players that we brought in. At least that's what my guess would be. Signing Skur, bringing in Billy Price, Bredesen, trying to fix the depth on this offensive line. So they had to backload a couple of contracts. The Jackson thing isn't even backloading. This will slightly impact the salary cap in both 2022 and 2023. So a minor readjustment there for Logan Ryan. In terms of his contract, I'll see what the exact specifics are, but I remember looking at his contract about a month ago. Logan Ryan is 100% going to be with the Giants for at least this year and next. His dead cap hit was too high to begin with. I would imagine if he has a regression in play, which obviously we're all not hoping, they could probably get out of it still after year 2. Next up, coming from Dan Duggan, I'm going to read the quotes from both Dan and Art, and then I'll give my full opinion on the news about the unofficial depth chart for the New York Giants on the offensive line. Giants depth chart for the Broncos game lists Nate Solder as the starting right tackle. Imagine Matt Barrett could rotate in, but all signs point towards Solder getting the start. And of course, the New York Giants going up against 2 very good pass rushers with the Denver Broncos. Then this coming out from Art Stapleton. Giants unofficial depth chart for week 1 offensive line. Left tackle Andrew Thomas, left guard Shane Lemieux, center Nick Gates, right guard Will Hernandez, and right tackle Nate Solder. So interesting note there. In addition to Solder, Shane Lemieux, at least as of now, a guy that we were concerned with may not be able to play or could be hindered due to the knee injury. At least as of now, in the unofficial depth chart is listed as the starter at the left guard. That could change. The right tackle could change as well, but right now Nate Solder is listed as the right tackle. Expectation is that Matt Barrett will rotate in, and this is unofficial, but Solder as the starter is a bit of a week 1 twist. Okay, so let's talk about this. Let's talk about the offensive line. First thing I'm going to say is I'm not going to panic before the year starts. Okay, at the end of the day, I'm going to have my opinions, and I'm going to say it in a second about the offensive line, but they are paid professionals. I'm going to let them succeed or fail before I absolutely demolish them in their decision-making, that being Joe Judge and Dave Gettleman. As I always say, I think it's a collaborative effort. The New York Giants, as a team, went into this offseason thinking that their young offensive linemen that they drafted in 2020 could take a big leap up. Dave Gettleman's been quoted as saying, we have to give the young guys a chance, so on and so forth. And this still could be a rotation. It could be that they don't feel as comfortable with Barrett week 1, and they want to make sure their quarterback doesn't get killed, and they're going to ease Matt Barrett into the starting lineup relatively quickly throughout the regular season. So it's very hard for me to completely analyze this move right now. But I'd be lying to you guys if I told you guys that I wasn't concerned going into the season about the offensive line. And this just adds more fuel to the fire. And that's not a knock on Nate Solder. We're going to talk about him first. Nate Solder was overpaid. We all know that in 2018. It was a very bad signing. 2018, first 8 games was horrific. Second 8 games, he was actually very good. 2019, he comes back. He has the problem with his kid. He's got a rookie quarterback. If you remember the first 2 games that year with Eli Manning, Nate Solder was not that bad. As a matter of fact, he was pretty solid. Daniel Jones comes in. He's learning on the fly. Yada, yada, yada. I think Nate Solder surrendered 9 sacks. He was absolutely horrific. He was dealing with, a foot injury. He got surgery in the offseason. He had the problem with his kid, and a rookie quarterback certainly didn't help. Not to say that Nate Solder was even close to worth that contract, but do I think that having a rookie quarterback helped him? Absolutely not. Do I think the situation at home helped him? Absolutely not. He decided to sit out last year. We all completely understood that line of reasoning due to the fact with COVID and his kid who was very sick. This year he comes back, took a pay cut for the New York Giants to come back, which I think we all applauded him for. And now he's going to be playing on the right side. He's going to be a swing tackle, obviously. That's what the expectations were going into the year. If Andrew Thomas goes down or if Matt Barrett goes down, he could step in. But I think we all assumed after we did not address offensive line in the draft that Matt Barrett more than likely was going to be the starter, especially being that Nate Solder hadn't played in over a year. Now, I never wrote off Nate Solder. I thought it was possible he could potentially get some time at the tackle position, and I do think he could potentially be a average starting right tackle for this football team. That remains to be seen. We'll have to wait and see. But what's so discouraging about this, in my opinion, Matt Barrett was a guy who the New York Giants, in my opinion, when they did not draft Rashawn Slater or they did not draft an offensive lineman in the 2nd or 3rd round of this year's draft, showed supreme confidence in. And the fact that Nate Solder, a guy who has not played in a year, a guy that has not been a right tackle since his rookie season, and a guy that you have no financial commitment to after this year, who's certainly not going to be a part of the future of this football team, had to severely outplay him for him to get this job. I think if it was close and Nate Solder barely outplayed him, Barrett would be the starter because they're trying to grow their young players like Dave Gettleman has said all along. For Solder to get this, I think he had to severely outplay Matt Barrett. And as a Giants fan, it may not impact this year's roster that much. It's very possible Solder could be the better tackle at this point in time. And obviously, Rob Sale and Joe Judge feel that way going into the season. But to me, it was about growth, and deciding not to draft an offensive lineman early meant that they were banking on Matt Barrett being ready to go this year and growing as a football player. Again, I'm not going to completely judge this decision until I see the totality of the season, and maybe Barrett becomes a great tackle halfway through the year as he continues to grow. And we'll have to wait and see. You guys all know I was on the Rashawn Slater train. I thought we needed to continue to address the offensive line. They decided to trade down. They got great value. And this season will be judged largely off of that decision by Dave Gettleman, whether or not he's going to keep his job by year's end. But we're going to have to wait and see how that all plays out. As a Giants fan, you just have to hope and pray that Nate Solder can get the job done on the right side. As far as substituting Matt Barrett in, you know, last year I was I still question it, but I was okay with it. I understood you had young offensive linemen. You wanted these guys to get exposure, knowing that they were going to be a part of your offensive line the following year. This year, in a year where you spent the money that you did in free agency, where you're being aggressive and trying to win football games this year and try to end this rebuilding cycle, and you're trying to evaluate your quarterback, we talk about continuity on the offensive line all the time. I am not for going into the year. I can't lie to you guys, and I hope it works out. Joe Judge is a paid professional. He's paid to make these decisions, and I hope it works out. If they're deciding to play musical chairs on the offensive line again this year to start the season, I'm not in favor of that, and I'd be questionable of that decision. Now, they have not done that yet, and if they do it, we'll talk about it from within the season. This is just speculation on Art Stapleton's part, and Jordan Renan as well, so we'll see. Actually, I think it was Dan Duggan. So we'll see if that's ultimately what they decide to do, but in a year, when we talk about continuity on that offensive line, how are you supposed to get any continuity whatsoever if you're not allowing these guys to play with one another, if you're constantly substituting people in and out? But we'll see what ultimately happens week one. As of now, it looks like Nate Solder will be on the right side opposite Andrew Thomas, with the expected starters in the middle, that being Will Hernandez, Shane Lemieux, and Nick Gates. As always, guys, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe, drop a comment, maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.